Buyers don't buy homes, they buy a story. And one of the biggest rules in real estate nowadays that agents and sellers need to understand is that buyers are going to be completely emotionally driven. Now remember, they've got the press and all the media saying that there are now more sellers than there are buyers, and interest rates are higher than they've ever been. So what do we do as the listing agent and as the seller to combat this? We need to understand first and foremost that 95% of all decisions made by anybody buying anything is emotionally driven. Now, this has completely been verified by Harvard Business, but anybody who has studied psychology and sociology can tell you the same thing. Even your most analytical buyer, your most analytical person, is going to make a decision based on emotion. And sometimes that emotion needs to reinforce the fact that they were analytical or systematic about making the decision to move forward. So how do we work with this? How do we deal with it in the modern times where for the first time in a lot of years, there might be 3 other homes in your neighborhood on the market when you want to sell? Now, one of the first things to remember is that buyers are buying in to a lifestyle. It's not so much about the specs. It's about the story. It's about the way they feel. So while we can say things like, look, the home is 2,300 square feet and is priced at the same price the next door neighbors sold for, it was only 1,900 square feet. A buyer is not going to care as much about that as they do the fact, especially since we're approaching fall and the holiday season, of being able to look at the living room that has front-facing windows and being able to imagine where their Christmas tree and decorations fit. That is part of the story. Part of the story is the lifestyle. What is it like to live in this neighborhood? What does it look like in the mornings? Are there people walking dogs? Can you meet neighbors? Do people look out for each other? These are all of the things that need to be documented and expressed to potential buyers, meaning an agent needs to bring that into their marketing platform. It's not enough to say that you've got a 4-bedroom, 3-bath home and it's the same price as another one that was 400 square feet smaller. That means nothing. Buyers are already going to feel like they're overpaying for the home, like the interest rates are not favoring them. They're getting pressure not from only the media, but also from family members and friends telling them that you should just wait till the prices go down. And have we seen prices go down? Kind of. We have seen more cooperation between sellers and the buyers where the seller contributes in a better percentage to not only paying the buyer's agent's commission, but also helping with closing costs or making amends of taking care of repairs or providing Section 1 termite clearance. Things like that have amped up. But realistically, when we talk about pricing, we're talking about, well, a year ago, you used to be able to price it 10% above what the last one sold for. Now you can't. You're kind of still at the same price where the last one sold for, and you may need to give more love to the buyer and the buyer's agent in order to get it done. So one of the jobs of the agent is to correctly frame the sale. This is why it is so important when a listing agent walks into a house to ask you, listen, you've lived here. Tell me, What are the features and things you loved about this house that you want me to make sure that every buyer knows about? Every prospect, everybody who sees it, what do they need to know? Because everybody who's lived in a home for more than a couple of years has got a story. Doesn't matter where it's located, how big, how small, how luxurious, or how entry level the home is. There are things that as an agent we need to know about in order to direct the marketing. Now, the next step is the agent smart enough and have the right resources in order to direct attention to those things that will help make an emotional connection between the buyer and wanting to write an offer? So when you have a photographer go out to a home and they snap 85 photos and you run them through an artificial intelligence program to make a video that is the ones where it looks like it drops from space and then it zooms in and out of rooms really quick, there's no emotional attachment to that. We have to start looking at, is there a fireplace in the master? Is it a wood burning fireplace in the living room? Is there room? What does it look like when it's decorated at Christmas or for Halloween or for Hanukkah? What does it look like when you host Thanksgiving? Is the dining room big enough to fit a table to fit 6 people plus a sideboard table or some sort of cabinet where we can do service and people can get in and out of the room? This needs to be reframed to where it can be sold. The script flips where it says, imagine being able to host both your children home from school or home from out of state, and your mom and your dad, and everybody being able to sit comfortably as they gaze out the front window, enjoying the holiday lights and the holiday festivities that take place in the front window of the living room. Eat comfortably with a big kitchen to where you can have multiple crock pots, the stove, the oven, the microwave going, and there's plenty of room to lay out big tins where everybody can serve themselves. That's a lot different than saying updated kitchen. It's a lot different. We have to start focusing on this day and age of what the buyer's really getting. Because if we reduce it to simply spreadsheet numbers on is it a really good deal and what are the projections for the next 15 years of ownership and increase in value and cost of ownership, you're going to lose every time. We need to sell on emotion. And the last thing I'm going to leave you with, NAR has a report, I'm looking at it right now, that staged homes sell 73% faster than non-staged homes. Here's the part that the report doesn't tell you. Homes are only staged most of the time when they are investor remodels, meaning an investor bought a home that hadn't been updated in God knows how long, or something that was in really bad disrepair. They put in the gray flooring, the gray paint structure, the gray cabinets. You guys have all seen this. Apparently nowadays, everything is gray. And the house is vacant. Well, a vacant house, one, allows it to be shown easier than a home that has, let's say, dogs, kids, and a showing schedule. But second, they're usually semi-gutted to where the paint's brand new, the flooring's brand new, the carpet's brand new, the appliances are brand new. You couple that with the ability of being able to show it anytime you want. Well, of course they sell faster if they're staged, because staging can be great, but just like overly enhanced listing photos, you run the risk of buyers looking at your home online, showing up and going, this looks nothing like what I saw on Zillow. And the agent going, oh, wow, everything looked a lot bigger in the photos. I don't know what to tell you. Sometimes real, but set up right makes sense. However, having been around selling, I don't know, at this point, maybe 500 vacant homes during the REO days, there is no problem selling empty homes devoid of furniture if the price is right. But if you've rehabbed it and it's modern and it has really cool features that we want to highlight, and there isn't an owner to tell the story of about how great the neighbors are, or, you know, Barbara walks her dog from around the street by and she always stops, and her daughter brings apple pie on Thanksgiving. The stories that make people go, I want to live here. If we're devoid of all that, then sometimes placing furniture and paintings in the correct lighting so that a buyer can envision the space makes sense. But most of you are selling a home that you live in. Your kids are coming home from school and doing homework. You guys are cooking dinner. You guys are putting things on counters. Trying to completely disrupt the space in which you live while we try and sell it is really a tightrope balancing act. So it's a case by case. So yes, of course, NAR can report that staged homes sell 73% faster. By the way, you notice the report does not say anything about selling for more money, just faster. So it's a case by case. It's always important to look at your goals, what is your time frame, and what works for your bottom line. And at the end of the day, you don't need an agent. You need a closer that is going to help direct you and allow you to make the decisions necessary to get and profit the most from the sale of your home in a time frame that meets your needs. That's what it comes down to.